What's up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. He fights Ian Machado Garry on the main card of UFC 303 on Saturday. He'll have everyone singing BBL Garry,
Hey, hey.
BBL Garry on the walkout. Michael Venom Page, how's it going, my man?
All good, man. Good to see you. How you doing?
Good. It's nice to see you. Kind of crazy, I think we've been talking on and off over the years in Bellator, but I feel like for as long since right before your debut, it's like 3 interviews. It feels like we're always chatting. How has it felt becoming such an integral part of the UFC experience so quickly? Like, I know it's one thing to get here, but it feels like in no time at all you are a UFC guy now.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I always say it feels like it's always been my destiny. I've always had that kind of star quality, based on what I've done outside the cage. And as much as a lot of people say it's quick, I get why they say it's quick based on in the UFC. But in terms of the workload that I put in the world of MMA, full stop, it hasn't been a quick journey. So it's just I think I'm in my rightful place.
I didn't get a chance to ask Ian this at the media day on Wednesday, so I'll throw it to you. The guy is clearly not short on self confidence. He's been respectful of your skill sets, but in relation to how good he thinks he is, he says, MVP is great, he's amazing, but he's got nothing on me. I am curious. You're a charismatic guy. You know how to self promote. How high of a risk reward ratio is it for a guy like Ian to be speaking so highly of himself? Because when you talk down your opponents the way he does, if you don't deliver on that, like, you're banking your entire persona on, I am so much better than this guy. What happens if he loses, right? Like, what do you think about his approach to self promotion?
Yeah, I guess this is where, the undefeated uh added bonus of confidence you get just because that, you still have that. I think the fact that he is undefeated, I've been there myself. I've been there myself. Uh and had that almost like I'm untouchable. I can't be killed. Da, da, da. Like you genuinely do feel that. And he's young, he's young. So he's still gonna he seems young and like in an immature way, young. So he still seems like that kind of childlike of, when you're a kid, like you fear nothing. Um, but I also believe in this case is false. Um, Not to say I'm his idol, but he's definitely watched me before having to think about fighting me multiple times. Uh, because of, again, the workload that I've done outside the UFC. So he's definitely gonna have a fear factor of what I can do. So sometimes I actually feel when I'm listening to him belittling me is more a case of him trying to not make me seem so big in his head. And I think it's a personal tactic more than it is trying to be disrespectful. But the same thing's going to happen when I get in there, and the reality kicks in. Your confidence is going to get tested massively, and then yeah, we go from there.
When did you have the epiphany moment, the eureka moment for this BBL Garry walkout?
Again, I always say this to everybody with regards to my walkouts, with regards to my celebrations. I let it almost come to me. I don't go seeking things out. I'm always thinking about stuff. I don't go seeking it out. The main motivation, my main brain behind this is when I just have conversations with my family because we're all jokers. We sit down and just crack on each other. You know what I mean? And even to the point where the kids are that all my nephews and nieces are old enough now. They're involved as well. So um, they're all like cracking. We just got that kind of humor in our family. We love to just kind of make fun in a nice way. We love to laugh, so it's good. So again, we had that eureka moment initially when we had a conversation, we had a family conversation. We all jump on because we're all in different parts of the world sometimes. So we like jump on a Zoom call. all of us are on. We were laughing,
Oh, that's
joking.
sick.
Yeah, I love it, man. And then my brother was like, "Oh, yo, Gary from SpongeBob. That it's Gary." Da, da, da. We're like, "Oh, snap! Yeah, yeah, the Gary from SpongeBob." So then I literally just went off. I was researching any clips that Gary the Snail was in. I was like, "Yo, let me just research this." Then I literally planned out a step by step of how I'm gonna get to the BBL thing, because we also in that conversation spoke about, I don't know how we, somebody mentioned it, or then we all started singing it ourselves. Obviously the rap beef that was going on with Drake, Metro Boomin dropped that track that anybody can use, and that's what made it even more funny, is because I actually randomly bumped into Metro Boomin in Dubai.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, Randy bumped in Dubai. Cool cat. And literally afterwards we was talking about the Metro Boomin track. We're like, yeah, that would be funny. It's BBL Garry, and we just started singing it. And then we're like, oh no, I can actually use that because he's
To be,
opened it
yeah.
up to everybody to be able to, to rip Drake on. And I was like, that's perfect, man. And it keeps it relevant because everybody was talking about that clash.
Mhm.
So it keeps it very relevant. But then I wanted to almost have a concert feel where I was like, no, we need to get this track out. I want to start like hinting this kind of stuff in interviews, and then we get that track out before the fight, so that when
Mhm.
I come out and I walk out to that, it's almost a concert feel. People can actually do it, like join in on the walk. And I think, people don't really, I haven't really seen that before.
If Kendrick Lamar versus Drake was a 5 round MMA fight, how would you score it?
Oh, I'll say 3-2 to Kendrick.
3-2. Were there any 10-8 rounds for Kendrick in there? Because I think there's a couple 10
Yeah,
eight rounds.
towards the end, yeah, Drake definitely got tired. Yeah, Drake
Okay,
definitely
no.
got tired as a 10-8 round. Definitely, definitely.
Last time you and I spoke, okay, let me. I'm gonna vent. I'm gonna have you play therapist for a second. I had a fan come at me on Twitter saying I'm a casual and I don't know shit about MMA because I expressed that MVP versus Wonder Boy would be a boring fight, which were your words, Mike, not mine. So,
Yeah.
whoever that fan is, if you're out there, do you have do you have any fears about this fight not being the most dynamic? Because while Ian does have a lot of offensive output, he's a relatively responsible striker defensively. Are you worried at all that this is going to be more of a chess match than, let's say, a highlight reel fight? Like your Kevin Holland one, I know you weren't super sold on it, but I thought it was a really fun contest.
No, I think this one will be the same. The reason why I spoke that way with regards to Wonder Boy is because our styles are so similar. We come
Mm.
from we come from almost the identical place. So when we start seeing familiarity in our opponents, we start to respond. We revert back to our base level of what we this is what we used to see. So I'm gonna start fighting in the way that I used to fight. So it changes and it becomes a points fight. It becomes a points fighting match, which is it's a different look. It's a very
Mm.
different look, which is it's definitely, if you're into points fighting, you'd still enjoy it. But for most people, they're not gonna understand the feints and the fakes, and what's when there's nothing happening, there's still a lot going on. So they're just going to look at it as there's nothing happening. So with this fight, I'm not fighting. I'm fighting a competent striker, but it's not the same style as myself. Therefore, I feel like there's more holes I can exploit. I think he's going
Okay.
to feel the same way. But I honestly feel like it's going to get to the point where he's going to want to revert to grappling, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, to get out. I don't think he's going to want to remain a striker too long with me going crazy in front of him. So it's definitely a different fight. So I don't. Yeah, there's no worries of that happening.
Okay. Mike, I want to start sort of wrapping up one because I know you've been doing a ton of media this week, and I want to respect that too. As you know, I didn't know this was happening, so I want to freestyle on this as we go. But I would like to know, on the way out, you mentioned your family Zoom calls and your family gatherings and how everyone's a joker. Can I have your pound for pound top 3 funniest people in your family? You can include yourself, but be honest with me here.
Yeah, our Jamie, my brother Jamie Page is by far. He actually does stand up as well. So
Oh shit.
yeah, 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 he's by far the funniest guy in our family. Just the energy that he brings anywhere that he goes, the energy that he brings. But we're all comedians. It's very difficult to kind of just play to three. We all have a slightly different, similar style, but different style at the same time.
Okay.
I'd say my brother CJ, which is interesting as well. So CJ is another one, very, very funny. He's like quick one-liners and stuff that he's just very, very sharp. But it's hilarious. It's even more hilarious when it comes from him. Only because when we was younger, he was the one guy that had zero jokes. He would say something that he thought was funny, and everyone's like, bruh, like that was, and then for some reason, he just U-turned and he just became really funny. Um, so he's funny. My sister is one of those people, like, she's, her whole energy is just full of happiness. Like,
Mm.
you can't help but be happy. I don't care. I could be miserable. I could woke up miserable. If my sister walks in the room, it's an explosion of
Wow.
energy. Like, she just
I'm
like,
envious of those people. I'm envious of those
yeah,
people.
man, seriously, she is. She's the queen of our family, shall I say, and she's the one that kind of keeps everyone in line and together. She's the oldest one, so yeah, but she's it's her comedy is just, yeah, it's not even, sometimes it's just like, why did you take it there? Like, but she just comes in full of smiles. Like, everyone loves my sister in the family, so yeah, I'd say they're the top three. They're the oldest three.
You talk about, I mean, granted, I asked you about it, but I love the way you light up when you talk about family. How integral have they been as a support system and as a foundation for this crazy, crazy career you've chosen?
Yeah. It genuinely doesn't work without them. Like, that is genuinely how I feel. It doesn't work without them. One, because one of the reasons why I'm so good is because I used to have to compete against my older siblings.
Mm.
We had to compete against each other. I think that's having that positive competitiveness in that within the household makes you grow faster. So that's at that level. And then again, just the fact that we are so tight, we are so close, we are so literally, there's nothing I can, I have not one bad thing to say about my family. And a lot of people, when I speak to people in terms of their families, they sometimes they're having arguments about some of the stupidest stuff, man. They like, oh, I'm not speaking to my sister anymore. I'm not speaking to my brother because of this. And I'm like, bro, like, it could never happen in my family. Like,
Mm.
there's the love and the energy. Like, we are a whirlwind of just happiness and fun times when we're together. And yeah, I couldn't go without that.
Well, I mean, that'll carry you forward long after the combat sports career wraps up. Michael, I want to leave you with the last word. So, very quickly on my end, guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. Subscribe, tap the bell, thumbs up. Let us know what is your prediction for Ian Machado Garry versus Michael Venom Page. That takes place at UFC 303 on Saturday. MVP walking out to thousands screaming, BBL Garry.
Hey.
Michael Venom Page, if there's anything you want to tell the people, the floor is yours, my man.
Yes. So again, just follow me on all channels. Anything that I'm doing, trying to be positive, trying to bring light to everybody, bring entertainment to everybody in on all platforms that I have. So just look it up. But yeah, for this fight, expect an amazing, fun walkout that you guys can, tune into. For those who don't know the walkout track BBL Garry is on Spotify, so you can go and play that now. Get your practice in. Trust me, I've heard multiple people say once I played it once and it's just stuck in my head. It's just it's a catchy track. So yeah, I want you guys to be involved in my walkout, be part of this journey. I go in there, I have fun, I make it entertaining for the first round, I make it frustrating for Ian Garry. Second round, I think he's going to be very demoralized and he's going to make it 10 times easier to finish him, and he's going to want out. So I'm going to say second round.